Evening, everyone. So, before I begin, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Kriti Sharma, and I have graduated from the field of international relations. And today I will be speaking on the topic of digital diplomacy. So, I chose this topic as it is highly relevant in today's interconnected world where digital platforms are not only offering new opportunities for engagement but also present new challenges such as misinformation, cybersecurity threats, and the digital divide. So, exploring this topic would provide us valuable insights into both evolving nature of international relations and the skills needed for future diplomats. This topic would also allow all the participants to explore how digital transformation is reshaping international politics and the opportunities it is creating. I would begin by thanking Principal of Shyam Lal Evening College for this opportunity, and a special thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. Abhinata, for their constant support and guidance. So, I'll start with screen sharing now. So, we will be covering the following aspects. First is digital diplomacy, then its role in foreign policy, then tools of digital diplomacy, and we'll talk about India's foreign policy and digital diplomacy, the role of digital diplomacy in shaping foreign policy of US and China, and then the summary. So, understanding digital diplomacy. It is like traditional diplomacy school tech savvy younger sibling who uses internet and social media to get things done faster and in a more convenient way. So digital diplomacy is basically diplomacy powered by technology, making international relations more quicker, more transparent, and way more interactive than traditional diplomacy. Instead of just secret meetings and formal letters and diplomats, talking closed doors, now tweets and video posts and holding video calls to solve international problems, share ideas, connect with people, get to know their opinion. All this is help to digital diplomacy itself. And imagine a world where leaders send message on Twitter or host virtual summit on Zoom. How convenient it is. So this is all possible through the growing technology of digital diplomacy. Plus, it tackles new age issues like cybersecurity, online privacy, and also threats, making diplomacy fit for the 21st century. This includes using platforms like Twitter, Facebook, video conferencing for negotiations and public outreaches and cultural exchange. So, the evolution of digital diplomacy. Traditionally, diplomacy happened behind closed doors and relied on private meetings and official communications. But now, thanks to digital diplomacy, that leaders and diplomats and even ordinary people can talk, negotiate, and share their ideas constantly using social media and giving out their views on how they feel about the story. So, the journey is very long of how this has evaluated. If we rewind to 1960s, the first ever global diplomatic session happened in 1963 when International Telecommunication Union was allowed to remotely participate. This was kind of like an early hint of how things are going to evolve since then. And then we saw diplomats and activists using emails and mailing lists to coordinate international events. For example, in the Rio Earth Summit, and even by 1994, the world leaders were sending official mails to each other, and presidents and prime ministers just hitting send instead of waiting for couriers to arrive. So, by later in 2000s, a digital revolution was completely brought, where embassies set up their own websites, diplomats started using laptops and Wi Fi in conference rooms. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter became the new tool for our public diplomacy. Also, we can take the example of Arab Spring in 2011, where it was a turning point of how social media regulated so much emotions and empowered the citizens that it forced the diplomats to engage with online communities in real time, showing the world how powerful digital tools could be. Today, digital diplomacy is everywhere. For example, our president Donald Trump was perhaps the most visible case of this transformation. His use of Twitter as a diplomatic tool was revolutionary and a bit controversial too. He made foreign policy announcements and also issued threats, praised alliances, and criticized NATO, and even announced major international decisions in 280 characters, often before traditional diplomatic channels were informed. In 2018, where Trump tweeted about pulling out the Iran nuclear deal before his European counterparts were fully briefed. So, this also created confusion among allies and instant geopolitical ripples. And another example that we can take is COVID-19's pandemic, of course, where diplomacy never stopped, but it completely moved online. And there were blend of traditional face-to-face meetings with Zoom diplomacy. This evolution means that modern diplomacy is way more faster, it's way more transparent, and it's more interactive and convenient. Connecting people and government across continents at the click of a button is an advantage itself. So these are a few tools of digital diplomacy that we see: social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, video conferencing and virtual meetings, data analytics and artificial intelligence, official government websites and digital portals, digital public diplomacy campaigns, and hybrid diplomatic events, and online crisis communication. Then we will be focusing on the topic influence on bilateral and multilateral relations. So, digital diplomacy enhances both bilateral as well as multilateral engagement. Like, imagine two countries having a WhatsApp chat to solve a problem, or a group of countries on a giant Zoom video call trying to make a decision together. So, digital diplomacy makes it possible for countries to talk, to negotiate, to collaborate instantly on a giant Zoom call, making the decision together. Whether it's just two nations or a whole group of nations, this solution helps include more voices in the communication. Then the US, if we talk about US, then it leverages digital tools for global coalition building and public diplomacy. Like, think of US as a social media influencer using Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to build friendships and alliances around the world. So US uses its own digital platforms to connect with other governments and regulate people in different countries, spreading its ideas, finding partners for global challenges, creating a team in online games and everything. Then, when we talk about China, China uses digital diplomacy to promote its narrative and strengthen its regional and multilateral platforms. Like, can we picture China using digital platforms to share its story and bringing its neighbors closer together, like hosting a big club online? So, China focuses on using digital tools to tell its side of the story, build trust with its own neighbors, and strengthen groups like Shanghai Cooperation Organization through online meetings and digital projects. So, both the countries use digital channels for strategic competition and influence. It's like a friendly but sometimes also a little controversial competition on social media, where both US as well as China try to get more likes, more followers, more support for their ideas. They use digital diplomacy to promote their own interest and counter each other's messages and influence what people and governments think about the world. Then, digital diplomacy also introduces new challenges, including cybersecurity and information warfare in bilateral and multilateral context. But just like the internet has trolls and hackers, digital diplomacy also faces such risks. So, countries have to worry about cyber attacks, fake news, and digital spying. These challenges obviously make it important for nations to work together and keep their online conversations very safe and trustworthy. So the main gist of it is that digital diplomacy is like world's biggest group chat, where countries can solve problems, build friendships, compete for influence, and face a new challenge together, but all with a click of a button. Then we'll be talking about role of digital diplomacy in shaping foreign policy. So it has several ways of shaping foreign policy. First can be it helps us to take a faster decision making and communication being more efficient. But because tools like social media, emails, video conferencing allow government to communicate and respond to international events in real time rather than waiting for days or weeks for traditional diplomatic exchange. This speed enables a faster and a more transparent exchange of information that can help facilitate negotiations a little quicker, making foreign policy more agile and responsive. Then, broader engagement and public diplomacy are also a major factor of this. Digital diplomacy opens foreign policy to a wider audience, and governments not only engage with their own state but also directly with other foreign states as well, and international organizations and even non state actors. So, this amplifies a country's voice and allows it to shape international narratives, build coalitions, promote its national interest more effectively. Digital platforms can also reduce the exclusive control states once had over foreign policy discussions. Citizens and experts and civil societies also started contributing to the ideas and feedback directly, but that was possible just through digital diplomacy. This made policy making also more participatory and more transparent. Like Germany used digital platforms to crowdsource opinions for its foreign policy review, and we can also take the example of Israel Palestine conflict, especially during the Gaza war, have shown how digital platforms can become a battleground for diplomacy and also affect the foreign policy and change it. As per Ilan Manner's book, The Digitalization of Public Diplomacy, Israel is cited as a digitally strategic state, using social media to proactively frame its foreign policy positions, especially during conflicts. The Israel Palestine conflict also proved us that digital diplomacy can no longer be separated from battlefield strategy or foreign policies. Like the war is now just not on the ground, it's also being fought through feeds, through hashtags, and through timelines that influence the whole global perception of it and also affect the policy making in real time. Then digital diplomacy also brings new topics like cyber security, data privacy, artificial intelligence into the heart of foreign policy. Even AI is now being used everywhere and anywhere. So countries must develop strategies to address these digital threats, regulate their technology and their control, and also cooperate in issues and form a unity that didn't exist in the traditional diplomatic era. So it has made foreign policy more interactive, more complex, requiring states to rethink how they communicate, how they negotiate. It has given states a push to brainstorm their ideas as there is a wider stage for them to address now. This shift has also made the foreign policies more dynamic, more engaging, and countries to gather and analyze vast amount of information, predict global trends, and even during crisis, digital platforms help the government a lot. They help share updates instantly and coordinate responses efficiently. Then we'll be discussing about India and digital diplomacy in India. So imagine India as a digital bridge builder connecting with the world, not just through a traditional handshake, but also with tweets, with video calls, and innovative apps. So Indian diplomats and embassies are super active on social media, sharing stories, solving problems, actively tweeting, and even celebrating festivals with people from every corner of the globe. India has embraced digital diplomacy as a core part of its foreign policy, using technology as well as digital platforms to enhance its global influence and partnerships. So, the Ministry of External Affairs and Indian embassies leverage social media and virtual platform to communicate directly with international audience and manage crisis takeout solutions, and the project that India's image as a dynamic and inclusive nation has to be taken more seriously. So India's global leadership is further demonstrated by sharing its digital public infrastructure like Aadhaar UPI or and the COVID with other countries, especially in Africa, Southeast Asia, and they offer a more scalable and low costing solution for digital identity, payments, and health management. Through its G20 presidency and participation in multilateral forums, India has promoted a human centric approach to technology, advocated for digital governance, and positioned itself as a voice for the global south. These efforts not only strengthen India's bilateral and multilateral ties, but they also showcase its commitment to inclusive digital growth and technological cooperation worldwide. Now we'll be looking at the example of US and China. So first I'll explain why I took US and China as a comparative analysis, because these are the world's foremost global powers and both are active and strategic users of digital diplomacy, but with widely different approaches that reflect their political system, their media ecosystem, and their ideological narratives. Comparing their strategies helps us understand the power dynamics of global influence, help us also understand the information control that is going on and the soft power competition between them. So while US emphasizes transparency, individual diplomacy and soft power through open digital engagement, China uses more tight controlled platforms to promote state narratives, assert its global presence, and often through what is termed as wolf warriors diplomacy. By comparing their approach, this webinar can highlight the growing role of technology in diplomacy and the challenges of digital influence, like how these strategies impact global perception, international relations, and the future of global governance. China uses digital diplomacy to promote its narrative and strengthen its regional platforms and focuses on controlling its narrative around Western influence and strengthening its position in multilateral organization. Like the Belt Road Initiative that we see is also filled with active engagement in forums such as Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So China uses digital tools to build partnerships, influence regional norms, and also project its own soft power. Both countries use digital channels for strategic competition as well as influence. So digital diplomacy has become a key arena for US China competition. Both states have used their channels to promote their strategic interest in their own ways, disseminate their perspective, and counter each other's influence globally, even through digital diplomacy. So, this includes using platforms like digital campaigns and policy advocacy, and even digital deterrence strategies. Then, we will be talking about challenges. So the challenges that we see there, this is a list of challenges, opportunities, and future aspect that we can have for digital diplomacy. Now, when we talk about challenges, the first is cybersecurity threats and hacking. So the more digital we are becoming, the more vulnerable we are. In 2010, the world witnessed one of the most sophisticated cyber attacks ever, in which a worm allegedly developed by the US and Israel to sabotage Iran's nuclear program. It was not just a virus, but it was a digital foreign policy in action. So, cyber tools have become geopolitical weapons as well, if we see, targeting critical infrastructure. And then we can also refer to the book In Sandworm by Andy Greenberg, that the Russian cyber attack on Ukraine is portrayed not only as warfare but as prelude to larger global instability in diplomacy, that a hacker can hack the server and unravel years of negotiation in just a few minutes. Then we have misinformation, disinformation, and deep fakes. So we are entering in an era in which seeing is no longer believing, and loss of confidentiality and privacy. So diplomacy obviously depends on discretion, but the internet was built for sharing. When WikiLeaks published US diplomatic cables in 2010, it wasn't just a breach of secrecy, it was also a diplomatic earthquake where private assessments of foreign leaders were suddenly public, undermining the trust and causing global embarrassment. Then, also as a challenge, we have regulatory, linguistic, and technical barriers. So, the internet obviously speaks all the languages, but diplomacy still struggles to keep up. Language is another layer. That means a tweet from a diplomat can be interpreted in multiple ways across cultures. A simple emoji that might mean peace to India can be considered offensive to some other nation. Digital divide and unequal access. When global summits shifted online during COVID 19, diplomats from low income nations faced connectivity issues. So, this also represented crisis in digital diplomacy. Now, there are reports that we can refer, like UNDP's Digital Divide in Diplomacy. This report highlights how unequal access of a digital tool leads to unequal voices in global policy making. Then, rapidly evolving technology and skill gaps. So, by the time a foreign minister actually learns how to use a TikTok, the world has moved on to the next platform, and that is no longer trending. Then we will be talking about the opportunities. So, opportunities are real time, two-way communications with global audiences. So, in 2019, when tensions between India and Pakistan escalated, both countries' foreign minister used Twitter to issue statement and call for restraint and influence global perception in real time. So, digital diplomacy allows nations to shape narratives instantly, not days later or through press conferences, making it more complicated. Then, enhance transparency and public engagement, that the diplomat is no longer behind closed doors but also live on Instagram. Then, empowerment of smaller states and non state actors, that digital levels the diplomatic playing field. Estonia, if we take for an example, leads in e-governance diplomacy that has also shaped European Union's technical policies and their cybersecurity norms. And then we have economic diplomacy and diaspora engagement. So India's MEA's app Madad helps NRIs raise issues, get consular helps, and stay connected. So all throughout, digital diplomacy helps us a lot, and even economic diplomacy today includes LinkedIn campaigns for investors and digital town halls. So in the future aspect, AI, blockchains, and web secure, transparent diplomacy. Tomorrow's treaty may be coded, but not just signed. So AI is aiding policy analysis, while blockchains ensure a tamper-proof diplomatic record. Then decentralized governance and digital identity. A passport may soon be your biometric hash. And also, Estonia's e-residency program shows how digital identity can go beyond the borders. Then we have tri-sector collaboration efforts and the urgent call for global regulations and inclusion. Like the digital world is borderless, but laws shouldn't be bounded. So without global framework, AI and data obviously can be misused, and the risk is very escalated. So the United Nations Global Digital Compact should aim to set shared norms on data and ethics. Thank you.
Well, Kriti, it was really a nice and holistic approach towards the e-governance and the importance of that. Thank you for bringing this topic in front of everybody. So right now, this is a time for the question answer round. So I'll be asking a few questions. You have to answer it in a brief, not taking a detailed discussion.
Yes, so just a second.
I think little bit problem in Ajay's internet, so no issues.
Yes, sir.
Ajay, are you here? Okay, no issues. So, Kriti, we are having some questions.
think,
Yeah.
I think Ajay has lost his connectivity, so I would continue.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Kirti, then we have few questions in our chat box. So I'll take one by one, and you have to you will try to answer the questions. So the first question we have is from Kanhaiya Kumar, and he's asking, how can India check the digital challenges like the digital divide, deep fake to carry out digital diplomacy in proper manner? So, what is your take on it?
So,
Should I repeat the question?
the question is, how can India check the digital divide, correct?
Yes, yes. The challenges of digital divide.
We can, things that I would suggest, that we can expand our internet connectivity in rural and remote areas more, and we can make low cost smartphones and tablets through subsidies and affordable data plans, digital literacy programs. I think all this would also help us check the digital divide in India and also bridge the gap between it.
All right. So one more question we have is from Shailendra, and he's asking that uh, how can nations balance these digital innovation and diplomacy with the need for confidentiality and traditional back channel negotiations?
Can you
So
repeat the question?
how can nations balance digital innovation in diplomacy with the need of confidentiality and traditional back channel negotiations? Like the case you can see in the Operation Sindoor, how Donald Trump is posting on Twitter. So how this India can balance all these things?
Okay, so balancing digital diplomacy is also what we need for, like, traditional diplomacy was obviously balanced because it was closed door. So digital diplomacy should also, including India, should maintain the both credibility and the effectiveness of foreign policy. So we can complement and not replace, like use digital diplomacy platforms, and but also support traditional diplomatic efforts like embassy dialogues and closed door negotiations. And we can also apply digital tools for public engagement and crisis communication, and develop techniques to counter fake information that's being spread, or data breaches or leak. And we can train hybrid diplomats also, that I would suggest, that training the diplomats to be digitally savvy while also being well versed in negotiations and geopolitical analysis would help, I think, if that answers the question.
All right. And we also have one question from our guest. And she has asked that, do you see the rise of digital diplomacy reducing the influence of smaller, poorer nations or enabling them to become more visible global actors? How does this help in, making visible of these small or poorer nations globally?
I think digital diplomacy helps the smaller nations, because to digitally develop, we will have to promote. There's the main strategy of promoting digital public digital infrastructure. That also with Africa and other nations also, we connect through digital public infrastructure, and digital platforms can also give the smaller nations a chance to put their point of view that might not be coming that upfront on the global stage. So this would help the smaller nations to be seen, and would also help them foster their development and promote themselves as a nation on the global platform.
All right. So the last question we have in our chat box is Akash Tyagi asked about it. Like, how does misinformation, disinformation affect the credibility and effectiveness of digital diplomacy? Like you have explained in your answer, but can you elaborate more on this?
Okay. So, misinformation and disinformation, of course, if there are some negotiations going on, which might not be perceived in the way that someone has them given out. Like, if someone is spreading some misinformation about some particular place, the other nation might be offended by it, and on an offensive platform can retaliate or can throw another opinions, which will complicate the whole negotiation or the whole term again more. And also digital diplomacy, the thing that we have to take care about, data breaches and privacy of the data and no cyber attacks, like we have to prevent the cyber attacks, is mainly because if our information is spoiled, if the information goes out in a wrong manner, then even the citizens would not support, and there would be multiple views, and there would be a lot of confusion and a lot of fuss created in the nation as well as on a global platform.
All right. So thank you so much, Kirti, once again. And You presented your topic very well.
Thank
So the
you.
last question from GSTS, which we ask to all our speakers, like, how was your experience on our platform about the team? Something you can elaborate.
I think that GSTS team was very supportive, and I am very thankful for this opportunity, and I feel highly obliged for it. And I think it has somehow boosted myself as a person to present this here today. And I hope my information that I presented was of use to everyone here.
All right. So thank you so much, Kirti, once again, and we would like to connect you again in future also.
Sure.
So so now I would like to invite our guest of honor for her remarks over your talk on this platform. So, ma'am, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Kirti. I think the talk which you gave was very insightful and it was well articulated presentation on digital diplomacy. I felt that it was both timely and relevant given how the world of international relations is rapidly being reshaped by technology. So, what we have seen today is a compelling overview from your side on how diplomacy, which was once confined to closed rooms and exclusive negotiations, is now being more performative and more redefined by real time engagement, public policy dialogues, and digital tools through platforms such as you say, AI driven data analytics, Twitter, WeChat. So as we look ahead, the integration of blockchain, AI technology presents a new opportunity, more inclusive and transparent diplomacy, but at the same time, as you said, challenges. So all the young people here who are present today, if any one of them want to have a career in diplomacy, they would be thinking that they just not have to write policy, but also maybe learn to how to code, how to read analytics and data, and embrace this digital shift, not as a threat to traditional diplomacy, but as a powerful tool, evolutionary tool to engage with the world in a newer way. And thank you so much for giving this talk, and it was very timely here. Thank you, Kriti.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So thank you so much, ma'am, once again, like for sharing your
And
views.
with the permission of Dr. Manish, I want to speak a bit about my organization in OP Jindal Ideas and the courses on development that we are running through for some time, if I can.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Hello. Hello. Am I
Hello.
audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
yes,
go
you're
ahead.
audible.
So I just want to discuss a bit about Ideas, which is a incubation center in OP Jindal Global University. So Ideas stand for Office of Interdisciplinary Studies, which serves as a university-wide incubator for interdisciplinary research by providing an institutional space for cross-pedagogical learning, I would say. We are offering two courses on MSc in Development Practice and MSc in Development Studies. So MSc in Development Practice is a 1 year non-residential course which will be taking place in our Taj Mahal facility, Taj Hotel facility in Delhi. And in this course of MSc in Development Studies, we will be teaching a lot of courses from ranging from issues such as economics, politics, and skill development courses such as academic writing. We'll learning about sustainability, about science and technologies, and a host of other courses that we think is quite relevant in today's development scenario. So I want to urge all of you to go to the website of Ideas and see these courses, because we have a lot of our flagship initiative within this course, such as grassroots action program and molding methods. So this is not just a general MSc development course, but it's also about integrating theory and practice and different ways of looking at the ideas of development. So it's a program designed for working professionals with flexibility in classes, and design keeping in mind with a lot of international NGOs and international organizations that are doing a lot of taking a lot of development action plan that is happening today. So just briefly, I would say that I'll just share my screen. So this course, you can see our program structure here and some of our trimesters subjects. So the courses, the admission is open for this course. Classes are starting in August, and we are taking students now for this course. I think you should check this out, and if you're interested, please apply on Ideas GQ website. And you don't have to be in Sonipat, so you can attend our daily classes. And we have one more course on development studies, which is a complete online course, which is starting in December. So these are some of our faculties who will be taking some of the courses, including me. So if you want to pursue a career, in CSR or in NGO or in policy writing, then this is a good course for you, I think. And if you're a working professional, then you will have a lot of flexibility. So I just wanted to talk a bit about this course. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me. And thank you, Dr. Manish, once again. Thank everyone for inviting me. I really had a nice time listening to Kirti and listening to everyone's question. And especially thanks to student moderators and all the students who have joined for showing this inclination to keep discussing and keep speaking on these topics. Thank you so much. I look forward to be associated with this talk series again in future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, once again for joining us today and for your valuable time. And now it's time to call our next speaker, who will brief about his topic. Mr. Aryan, if you are here, you can brief about your topic.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
A very good evening to all. I am Aryan Sharma, and I am from Regional Institute of Education, Ajmer, and I am currently pursuing BA BEd 4-year integrated course from RI Ajmer. So thanks for the team for giving me the opportunity to talk and present my views. My topic will be literature as a mirror of society and its therapeutic and healing power. As we all know, कि literature is a treasure of words, is a treasure of memories, is a treasure of life. जब हम साहित्य की बात करते हैं तो हम जैसे कि साहित्य वर्ड है कि सहित, जैसा कि हम जानते हैं, तो in literature, so we have seen a transcendence of life, that there is a life in literature. ऐसा कहा गया है कि हमारे जीवन की हर कड़ी और हर घड़ी आपको लिटरेचर में देखने को मिलेगी. Even when our ancestors says कि whenever you find any problem in your life, just go through any page of the Bhagavad Gita and you will get everything in your every solution of your problem. At the same time, literature, whether it may be Hindi literature, whether it may be English literature, Persian or any else, you will find a transcendence of your life just in it. From death to loss, from birth to happiness, from celebrations to all the painful journeys. It finds its path through. And at the same time, in the present world where we are suffering from depression, anxiety, disorders, loneliness, mental and all the psychological problems, how can we use literature to heal this problem? जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि आज से 20 या 30 साल पहले योगा की इतनी पॉपुलैरिटी नहीं थी, लोग योगा की जो पावर है उसे नहीं जानते थे. But now it is widely accepted as most wonderful remedy for many problems. At the same time, bibliotherapy is a term which is used for the therapeutic and healing nature of literature. It was introduced in 1916 by Samuel McCord Crowther. He introduced a literary clinic in about 1916, a period when First World War was going on. But it was further popularized by Dr. William Manning, who was a psychologist in USA, Kansas. He on the backseat of the Second World War, he started that how can we heal person who have post-war trauma? How can we heal that person? The psycho and mental problems. So he just introduced the power of literature to heal this kind of. In my talk, I will present all the things. How can we heal these problems from with the use of literature? At the same time, जब हम literature देखते हैं तो it is not just a single poem or it's not just a single word. From Wordsworth to Keats, from R.K. Narayan to Sudha Murthy, it all finds its way from its beauty to realism, from idealism to the existentialism, to all the theories, all the views, all the we can see the realms of literature we will explore through this talk. Thank you so much.
All right, Aryan Sharma. So बस ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि लास्ट वीक हमारा जो टॉपिक था वो भी लिटरेचर के ऊपर था, सोसाइटी का देखने का नजरिया। और आपने भी एक इमर्जिंग टॉपिक को चूज किया है जहाँ पर आप एक दूसरे पहलू को बता रहे हैं लिटरेचर के थ्रू। सो मैं आपके बिहाफ पे सभी लोगों को इनवाइट करता हूँ तो अगले संडे आए और आपको सुने। सो नाउ इट्स टाइम टू अनाउंस द स्पीकर ऑफ द मंथ फॉर मे, and the speaker of the month is Bhavika Sachan, and she has given a talk on Manipur comics. So Bhavika, if you are here, you can share your experience or your insights. Bhavika.
Hello, good evening. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. I was not expecting this at all. So when I received a call about this, I was kind of very surprised about it. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And my experience with GSTS has been really good. I got a platform for presenting my views, my ideas on a topic that not many people talk about. So I'm actually very thankful, and I would like to continue and stay in touch with GSTS. Thank you so much.